Everyone to find a seat. We'll get started in just a second. We do have some folks joining by Zoom. Okay, so we're gonna just, so as you may know, this is the meeting of the March meeting of the Norwalk Commission, Status of Women. I want to welcome everyone, calling the meeting to order now at 6:35. So we do have one small piece of business, which is the minutes from our two past meetings. We have the minutes from the January 8th, 2024 meeting. So among the commissioners, and then we'll get on to the more exciting part of the meeting and introduce various people, including the commissioners. It's a bit in and out, but may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 8th, 2024? So moved. Thank you, Christina. Is there a second? Thanks, Shannon. And are there any changes or corrections to the January minutes? Okay. Seeing none, then I would ask, if we would just vote on motion on the floor, which is to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2024. By raising hands. I just want to make sure. Okay. And it sticks. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. So moving right along, we also have to approve the minutes from our February 21st, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the February minutes? Thanks, Jasmine. Is there a second? Okay, thanks, Clara. Any changes or corrections to the February minutes? Okay, seeing none. So that may I have a vote on the motion on the floor to approve the February minutes? Any against? The abstentions? Okay, all set. Thank you. So first of all, I just want to, I'm Claudia Connor. I'm the chair of the Norwalk Commission on the Status of Women. And we are extremely excited to have you all here this evening. And to start off, I'm going to turn the mic over to Christina, the co-chair, who's going to recognize a number of people in the audience and introduce the commissioners. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Shannon. Sorry, I meant Shannon.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're very happy to have you all here. I'm in charge of the welcoming to acknowledge who is in the room. We're very honored to have the Lieutenant Governor join us, Susan Beischwitz. Thank you so much for being here. State Senator Bapta. Representative Dominique Johnson. Representative Lucy Davin is on her way. First Lady Lucia Rilling, thank you for being with us. Mayor Rilling is at a BET meeting, so he needed to be there, so thank you for joining us. We have some Board of Ed members joining us, Ashley Coolis and Jeanette Randolph. Thank you. And we'd like to say thank you to Sherelle Harris and the library staff for accommodating us in this space. So thank you very much. And we'd also like to thank Michelle Woods-Matthews, who is our staff person for the commission. And with that, the members of the commission who are with us this evening: Sharon Biontek, Chantel Coffey, Claudia Connor, Jasmine Prizzi, Sarah Rendon Garcia, and Christina Testabuzzi. And thank you all for your hard work. This was an idea that we all talked about, and to see it come to fruition is always amazing. So thank you everybody for getting us here. Thank you, and I will turn it back to Claudia.
So just to pick up where Shannon left off, just to give a little bit of background, last year, the commission, which has only been reinstated just under 3 years, we thought that it would be really important to recognize Women's History Month and International Women's Day, which is March 8th. So last year we started working towards that, and tonight is the fruition of that effort. And we really wanted to use the opportunity to highlight the work that the Commission on the Status of Women is doing, the fact that Norwalk has a commission on the status of women, and to recognize the unbelievable work of 2 people in our community. So we decided to create the Impact Awards, which we're about to give out. One, as you may know, is for someone who is under the age of 18, because you really wanted to acknowledge and lift up the powerful impact of young people in our community. And one is for someone who is over the age of 18. We did have a public, and they both had to be residents of Norwalk. We did have a public nominations process, and then we evaluated the amazing nominees. And I wanted just to mention briefly the 2 areas that we looked at in terms of understanding the impact that they've had in our, or are having in our community. So these are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but either one or the other. That the person has or is making a significant impact in the Norwalk community at a system-wide level, or has helped a specific population or community. And for that, we looked at both the scale, the duration, and the innovation or creativity of what they've done. And the other area was looking at the extent to which the nominee currently or in the past has contributed positively to promote the lives of women, girls, and other marginalized gender identities, such as transgender people and gender non-conforming people in the Norwalk community. And there, our considerations were really about sustainability, relevance, and the motivation of the person's efforts. So with that, let's turn to our awards. And I'm just gonna, we have a number of people who are going to say brief things, but first to announce our Rising Star Impact Award, which is for the person who is under the age of 18. And I'm thrilled to say that that person is Roshni Youssef, who has quite a few people that are with him. And to start us off, I'm going to invite First Lady Lucy Oberlin to come and read a proclamation.
Roshni, congratulations. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here to present this to you. I have a proclamation from the mayor's office, and I'm going to read that. Roshni Youssef, whereas Roshni Youssef, a senior at Brian McMahon High School in Norwalk, was selected by the Commission on the Status of Women as Rising Star Impact awardee, as a tireless advocate for the rights of LGBTQ+ students, girls, and women in Norwalk. And as whereas Roshni serves as a member of the Center for Youth Leadership and has taken on the advocacy role for her fellow students, a true leader who testified in front of the Connecticut State Legislature to advocate for the passage of legislation during schools to have free feminine products available in restrooms. And whereas Roshni Youssef attended one of the Board of Education meetings to advocate on behalf of fellow students on reasons why a new policy should be developed for gender nonconforming and transgender students, and advocated and encouraged for the inclusion of educating and training our school nurses on endometriosis. And whereas Roshni worked with members of the Center for Youth Leadership to create posters informing students of their rights based on board policy. And whereas Roshni Youssef, a caring, compassionate, and benevolent individual, always looking for ways to make the world a better place for all. Now, therefore, I, Harry W. Rilling, Mayor of the City of Norwalk, Connecticut, do hereby acknowledge and congratulate Roshni Youssef in Norwalk, and in so doing, call upon family, friends, and the community to recognize and support the activism being done by a true leader of our LGBTQ+ students. In witness whereof, I step my hand and cause the seal of the city of Norwalk, Connecticut to be affixed this 11th day of March 2024.
So much. So we want Rashni to, she would like to say a few words, but before that, we would like to invite Barbara Wood to come up, who's the principal of Brian McMahon High School.
I was the person that nominated Roshni, and when I received, information about this award, I have to be honest, she was literally the first person that came into my mind. I've known her all 3 of my years that I've been principal of Brian McMahon, and I've worked with her on many different issues, and I was most impressed with the work she's done around issues that relate to women, not just in Brian McMahon, actually not just in Norwalk, but across the state of Connecticut. I came across a quote and I thought it was fitting. It said, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." And that was said by Anne Frank, and that really reminds me of Roshni. And we were meeting today about this award, and I was asked what word I might use to describe her. And the first thing that came to mind for me was selfless. The work that she does and her peers that are here as well, it's not about them. In fact, when I nominated her, I was a little nervous that she might not want to accept an award because she's so selfless and doesn't do any of this for her own recognition, but rather for the good of others. And as a principal, I meet, we have 2,000 kids at Brian McMahon, but she just is exceptional. All of the young people here today who work as part of the Center for Youth Leadership are exceptional because their advocacy isn't, Miss Wood, we think this or we think that. They come to me and they bring up issues, but they also bring up how we can fix it and how we can make it better and how we can make the world a better place for everyone. And that's what's so impressive about each one of them. And they're able to really articulate, they give you data, they give you evidence, but most of all, as I said, they give you solutions. And Brian McMahon, City of Norwalk, and many people in this world are better because of Roshni, and will be better because of what I know she's going to do in the future. Just to give you a summary of some of the things that she's accomplished and done, she testified in favor of a bill that would outline step-by-step instructions for how Title IX investigations on sexual assault in schools are to be conducted, advocated for students who express concerns with how sexual assault investigations had been performed for them. She was on a bathroom task force that I created at Brian McMahon. Not everybody was jumping to be on that, but she helped work with a group of passionate students and myself to discuss concerns and solutions around issues relating to bathroom accessibility for students of all genders and gender non-conforming students. She's testified in favor of a bill that outlines protections for trans students in school districts. She, along with the Center for Youth Leadership, advocated for darker colored attire for girls' sports teams around Fairfield County. They sent emails expressing support for this due to menstrual health related concerns. And she was the first person that actually had sent me an email about that issue. And it was interesting because my daughter plays Division I college soccer, and I asked my own daughter about it. I'd never asked her about it before. And she said, Mom, Absolutely, yes, 100%. That's such an important issue, one that hasn't been really discussed. They had provided me some articles about college sports teams that had changed from the white shorts. And I was just so impressed with that particular issue, and their concern about it. And, again, they came with solutions. They're saying, we know financially, we're not gonna replace every female sports team's white shorts next week. But as you begin to purchase new uniforms in the future, we really believe that this is an important issue for you to consider. The work around the tampon pad dispensers, they brought that first to the Norwalk Board of Education. They communicated with the Norwalk Commission on the Status of Women. They testified in favor of having tampon pad dispensers in government buildings around Norwalk and advocated for the bill putting dispensers in school bathrooms. At Brian McMahon, we had them installed a full 2 years before the state legislation actually goes into effect this year, in September. They've done work around, and she's done work around endometriosis. She attended the Yukon Period Equity Summit 2023 and was a panelist in a panel discussion regarding her experiences as a student activist of period equity and menstrual health. She testified in favor of a bill promoting endometriosis-related education and awareness in school education and medical staff. She actually sent an email to the director of nursing for the Norwalk Public Schools, advocating that on behalf of our school nurses in the high schools and the middle schools. Most recently, she's taken on an issue related to child pornography. She's testified for the Committee on Children in favor of a bill changing the language in Connecticut legislation from child pornography to child sex abuse material to correctly highlight the abuse endured by minors in that language. And that's just some of the work that I'm highlighting that she's done along with her peers, many of whom are here to cheer her on and support her. But I am so proud to have nominated her. I'm proud to have her as a member of Brian McMahon High School in the community of Norwalk. And so congratulations, Roshni. You are so deserving of this award.
Thank you so much. Amazing testimony to the work of Roshni, and so much of what you've done, Roshni, really aligns with what we're trying to do at the commission. So thank you for bringing that up through the high school and lifting your voice. I'd like to now invite Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz to make a few remarks. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, and what a pleasure to be here to honor two very remarkable women and Senator Duff, our state's Senate Majority Leader. What a nice thing to see you outside of the Senate chamber here in your district. Thank you so much for your leadership. And Lucia, thank you for your great work. And I'll say this, that Connecticut in the 1970s started a permanent commission on the status of women. And a trailblazer by the name of Governor Allegrasso appointed my mom to the first commission, Connecticut Commission on the Status of Women. And it is interesting in Women's History Month that we take note of just a few women from Connecticut who have been role models and trailblazers. Because if you think about them, then when you hear about the two remarkable women that we're honoring today, it's less of a surprise. So Governor Allegrasso is someone who has been a trailblazer for women in politics, because she was the first woman in the United States to become governor of a state in her own right. There were two others before her, but they followed their husbands in office. So she was different because she did it on her own. She was a state representative. She was Secretary of the State. She was a member of Congress. And then she was elected governor 50 years ago in 1974. And when she was elected, it made international news. And she went on to do great things for our state, including helping to pass a Freedom of Information law. Just one of the great things that she did. Another remarkable woman, Constance Baker Motley. There was just a stamp dedicated in her honor. And she was a lawyer, one of the first Black women to graduate from Columbia Law School, NYU Law School. And she got a job working at the NAACP with Thurgood Marshall, who sent her all over the South during the 1950s and 1960s to desegregate schools and public colleges and universities. And she argued 10 cases before the Supreme Court, won 9 of them later, the 10th was overturned. And what's interesting is she was on the level of Thurgood Marshall, yet hardly anyone knows who she was. And she did some other remarkable things. She was the first Black woman elected to the New York State Senate in 1964. In 1965, she became the Manhattan Borough President, first female elected to be Manhattan Borough President. And then in 1966, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, the President of the United States, appointed her to be the first Black woman to serve as a federal district court judge. So she was just a remarkable woman, and people from Connecticut should know who she was because of what she contributed to the civil rights movement and to the legal profession. And 2 other women that I want to mention. One was my colleague, Denise Napier, who got elected in 1998 as treasurer for the state of Connecticut, first Black female treasurer in Connecticut, and the first Black woman elected to statewide office anywhere in the United States. And Jet Magazine called her one of the 50 most influential Black women in our country. And finally, Maria Sanchez, who was a huge leader and well-respected woman in the Hispanic community in Hartford. She started the Puerto Rican Parade in Hartford and many organizations like SAMA, a Hispanic Merchants Association in Hartford, and she was elected in 1988 as the first Hispanic female legislator in Connecticut. So we stand on those women's shoulders today, and we keep them in mind as we are saying thank you to 2 stellar women in Norwalk. And let me just say, Roshni, there are many adults who would be intimidated to go testify before the state legislature or before the Norwalk Board of Education. It takes a lot of courage to stand up and make your views known and advocate for people. So I hope, given all that you've already done, seems to me, don't you think, Representative Johnson and Representative Dathan, that this is a legislator in training? Trust me, I never did any of that before I became a legislator. It is very remarkable. When we were chatting, you told me that you wanted to study AI in college, and trust me, that is a field where we need you desperately. First of all, we need more women in STEM fields because those jobs are the highest paying, but we need you there because it presents privacy dilemmas, moral dilemmas. There are so many issues with AI. I am so happy that we have a smart, competent female that's gonna take up that charge. Because we're gonna need your leadership. And one commercial message, for any of the young people from Brian McMahon High School and for Roshni. We take college interns in the Lieutenant Governor's office, so make sure to apply. Senator Duff and the legislature has internships, so we would love to have smart young people showing leadership and helping us in Hartford. And I just want to say thank you to my dear friend, Representative Dominique Johnson. She said, you came all the way down here, and trust me, I didn't hesitate for you to drive down from Hartford and spend an hour and 45 minutes in traffic, because I so appreciate the work that you do. And I particularly appreciate your focus on literacy. And this is so important because having young people read and read well at a young age really is the best predictor of a kid's success. And so we so appreciate your focus on that. And thank you for being a role model and being part of our LGBTQ plus caucus. We say it's small but mighty. We love the work that you do and the advocacy that you provide. And I have to say, it was a pleasure during book banning week to highlight for the state with you books such as RuPaul's biography, for example, or Flamer, or other books that libraries across the state have been asked to take off the shelves by people in our state. And thank you for pushing back on that, because our young people should be able to read books and see themselves in those books. So thank you for being an advocate. And I'm going to tell you something that you may not know about Representative Johnson. She is a TV star, and she has been on RuPaul's Drag Show along with the rest of the caucus and me. We got to make a 30-second or 1-minute video together to congratulate the finalists from Connecticut, because in Connecticut we had some fabulous finalists. And so we made sure we had the opportunity to say thank you and celebrate them in a video. So with that, I'm wondering if both Dominique and Roshni can come up to receive their citations. And I also think this is funny because Rep. Johnson gives everybody else citations, but it's kind of fun to give her one. All right, congratulations to both of you. All right, and I love that you're wearing Tina Durye's fabulous scarf on this day. Isn't that?
Oh my
We're gonna
goodness.
hand that to you.
I just gave out one of yours.
So there you go. Thank you. Okay, we can trade back. and forth. All right, awesome.
You guys come down, 'cause you gotta take.
Oh, do we have
Yeah,
the, okay,
yeah.
if we
Okay.
step like right here, is that better? Okay, hey, John, you grab one. Okay. Awesome. Feel like you're in Gosford. Congratulations.
Very much for those really inspiring historical words and helping us feel rooted in all of the women that have come before us. Thank you for that. Roshni, your turn to say a few words, and then we'll move on to our second awardee.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everybody, or good evening. I just want to quickly say, first of all, I'd like to thank all the members who are here from the Center for Youth Leadership and our advisor, Bob Cosienda, for giving students a platform to, share their voice and giving me the opportunity to testify. I think it's really important that student voices are heard directly from students, especially in like coming up with bills and working with legislature, because we have a unique experience coming from a disenfranchised group of people for the most part, and the experiences of students are very important, especially, for example, the Committee on Children, who might not have the perspective of a student in, modern times and knowing what we go through. So thank you so much for recognizing the work. Obviously, we don't do it for the recognition, we do it for the change, the future of our community. But I think this recognition is also a form of awareness for the work that we do, and so I'm so grateful for that. So thank you very much.
So, you've already gotten the preview of who the second awardee is, but we are really thrilled to recognize Representative Dominique Johnson with the Adult Impact Award. And so, no, it's not a deja vu, but I'm going to invite First Lady Lucia Witt to read the proclamation from the City of Norwalk.
Get your steps.
Okay, watch your Kayla.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes, yes, my friend.
Congratulations, first. Right, well, here I am again.
Second proclamation for Dominique Johnson. Whereas State Representative Dominique Johnson was elected to the state legislature in 2022 and serves as the 143rd House District, where she represents parts of Norwalk and Westport. She's the first genderqueer legislator in Connecticut and a trailblazer for gender equity. And whereas Representative Johnson goes by she and they pronouns, they are one of 4 only LGBTQ plus state legislatures in the entire state of Connecticut, acknowledging that they grew up in Iowa, never witnessed someone whom they identified as a state representative advocating on behalf of the LGBTQ plus community, especially LGBTQ plus youths. And whereas Representative Johnson has recently attended the Naugatuck Valley Pride Alliance Student Club Vigil to honor Next Benedict, the non-binary student who was killed in Oklahoma in February 2024. She talked about specifically the violence against queer and gender individuals of the LGBTQ plus youth. Whereas in March 2023, Representative Johnson attended and supported the transgender pride flag flying over the Connecticut Capitol for the first time in state history, describing the historic day as a stone wall to the State House in reference to the 1969 riots regarding LGBTQ plus rights. And whereas Representative Johnson shared, we stand on the shoulders of our elders, and we want the next generation to stand on our shoulders, and said, I might be the first legislator to use singular they pronouns in this dome, but I will not be the last. And whereas Representative Johnson has utilized their role as a state representative to advocate for children's privacy regarding sensitive subjects such as sexual orientation, gender identity, and race. They supported the formation of Equality Connecticut, an organization to advocate on behalf of the LGBTQ plus community. And whereas Representative Johnson's advocacy and support for LGBTQ plus rights, women's rights, and community service began long before their tenure in the State General Assembly. Before joining the state legislature, she served 2 terms as a member of Norwalk's Common Council. She served as chair of the Community Services Committee, where they worked to improve the quality of life for all Norwalk residents, and worked with Norwalk Mayor W. Rilling to help reinstate the Commission on the Status of Women after it had been inactive since early 1990s, and previously served on the board of the Triangle Community Center, Fairfield County's leading provider of programming, resources, and education to nurture growth and connection within and for LGBTQ plus community. Now therefore, I, Harry W. Rilling, Mayor of the City of Norwalk, Connecticut, do hereby honor and congratulate State Representative Dominic Johnson in Norwalk, and in doing so, call upon the Norwalk community at large, and more specifically, the LGBTQ plus community selection to endorse the perfect candidate for the Norwalk Commission on the State of Women's 2024 Impact Award. In witness thereof, I set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Norwalk, Connecticut, to be affixed on this 11th day of March 2024. I want to see that video, or that, whatever it's called, right? Is it on YouTube? Beautiful. What's the heading, or,
You know what, I'll send it.
Yeah.
I'll send it.
okay.
It's,
It might be just fabulous State Rep Johnson,
no,
right?
it's Fabulous Queens from Connecticut we have their back.
I wasn't far off.
You're not.
Fabulous Queens, there we go.
Thank you. Oh, this means so much. Thank you. Oh, my goodness, this is too much. Thank you. Oh, gosh, thank you. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
This is-
So, thank you very much. So a few remarks, in honor of, Dominique Johnson. So we'd like to call State Senator Bob Jeff to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We're gonna just go on and on a long time and make this really torturous for Dominique. Hang it right in there. Lieutenant Governor, thank you for being here. My colleague, Representative Dathan, our members of our Board of Education, our First Lady, thank you. It's really great to be here. Congratulate Roshan. Where'd you go? Oh, there you go. Congratulate your mom and dad there. Thank you. Congratulations to you and all your work that you've done. We're really, really very proud of you. And of course, youth leadership we have spent. I'm gonna get out of here because we've worked so closely over the years with Center for Youth Leadership, whether it's on child abuse, whether it's on animal cruelty or animal abuse, and cross-reporting and all these different things. And so you have just risen up to all the work that they've done through the legislature, and you are impacting so much as well. Ms. Wood, I could literally give the same speech you gave about Roshni to Dominique by saying, and when I saw the email come through about the award, Dominique was the first person I thought of, and then I thought, I hope she doesn't say no. Because I thought actually that she would actually, I wasn't even gonna tell her, but then actually had to check a box to say that I had to tell her.
Let me bring you down here because you've got the light.
Okay, yeah. So Dominique, congratulations, but well earned and well deserved for you. Now, most people don't know, because Dominique, she's a neighbor of mine, we live down the street from each other. Most people don't know how humble and kind she is. And everybody knows her. She really is, what you see is what you get. And most people don't know, she's really Dr. Johnson. And she doesn't talk about that much, She might have been in a RuPaul's thing, but she is somebody, when she comes to the legislature, she brings a lot of authority with her. And she comes with experience and knowledge that you just can't get anyplace else. And so when she speaks on issues, even though she's only in her first term, people listen. And that really says a lot about her. So much so that she was able in her first year to get legislation through both the House and the Senate, and she got money in the budget for books for children. And so she is already, just in such a short amount of time, she's already been so effective. And that's why when I thought about, I saw this email come through, I thought about who would be the best person to receive the first award? Who really is the trailblazer? It's Dominique Johnson. And just let me say to the students from Ron McMahon in the room here as well, that when you have an example like Dominique, Representative Dathan and other women who are strong, and our, of course, our Lieutenant Governor, who are strong and who set out to change lots of things, and like me, just get out of the way. But they are working hard to improve our society. And you don't always have to be elected to do that. We have great boards of ed members here. We have great principal. We have our first lady. We have others, of course, on the status of women who are here, and others, Billy, who does your work in New York. I mean, go really to everybody here. But working to impact and to protect and to stand up for our marginalized communities really says a lot. Because those are the folks who are bullied. Those are the folks who are put in the corner. Those are the folks who are othered. And when you have folks like Dominique and others who are literally standing up for people who have no voice. Think about, as we talk about with Next Benedict, no voice. And now we're talking about those issues yet again. And so I want to thank Dominique for all her work so far. There's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more that will be accomplished because of all the good things that she does. But thank you, Michelle, Shannon, everyone on the status of women. Thanks to Mayor Rilling for his leadership as well. And thank you to all the women in the room who really make an impact on our city of Norwalk, our state, and really bring change to the forefront of our communities, because it really does mean so much to everyone, to boys, girls, men, women, everyone in our community who want to see a state that is loving of everyone, that is compassionate, and a state that that is an example across our country of what it means to lead by example and do good things. Thank you.
We have one more speaker before I turn it over to Dominique, so State Representative Lucy Dathan, thank you.
Probably shouldn't stand up here. I am so honored to speak on behalf of my friend Dominique. I met her about 5 or 6 years ago, and I think what started as a 30-minute coffee, we probably spent 2 hours talking. It felt like, I mean, it didn't feel like, but it was amazing to get to know her. A fellow Midwesterner like myself, spent time in California myself, and now we're here, and we're both lucky to be able to support and fight for Norwalk. But what struck me the most about Dominique is her voice, her thinking, and her ability to lead by her example, be able to stand up for those who don't necessarily have a voice, as the senator pointed out. But I feel like so many kids in Dominique's position, when we were growing up, didn't have those role models. And that makes me so sad. And I get so happy when I see people like Dominique, and I have joy in myself because my son's in this community. And he didn't have those sort of role models when he was younger. And I think how many more kids are gonna benefit for having people who are out there, people who are advocating for them, people who show how important that leadership is. And to be able to spread that and lift others up. So not only are you lifting up other women in our state, you are lifting up so many young people. And I am truly, truly grateful for all that you have done. And her knowledge that she brings to the education community, the higher ed community is just phenomenal. So thank you, Dominique, for all your work. And some people say you are a rising star. I think you are a glowing, huge star up in Hartford. And it is only in a year and a bit, but there is going to be so many more wonderful things that are coming coming down the way for all the work that you've done. So thank you so much. Congratulations. And congratulations, Rashmi. You sounds like you are a definite glowing star over at Brian McMahon, and I know whatever you do next is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So keep in touch. Thanks so much.
I have to say thank you. I'm a little overwhelmed, as you can probably tell. This is, I'm used to giving out the citations, and as Bob alluded to, Senator Duff alluded to, this is not a position I'm really totally comfortable in, so I'm just gonna lean into it. I first off have to thank, Senator Duff for believing in me, supporting me. He's the dean of our delegation. I mean, he really, being able to work with him as a state rep, even before on the council, it's phenomenal to know we have somebody in him who is literally every day and every way fighting for us. And frankly, is such an ally that I get to do this work because I know that I have people I can to go to. When I need advice, when something gets hard, when I need a little bit of an insight into how something works, he's always there. And so thank you, Senator Duff, I really appreciate it, always. And he's really an ally. You talk to some of the folks who've been around the building a lot, and people will say, like, he's the only person that took it serious enough, and so that matters. And Lucy being in the delegation with you, and I door knocked her, Lucy, before I even met her. I think Sharon and we did that 2018. So, and then I got to meet you, and here we are. Now we get to work together. Thank you so much for what you said. I just appreciate it. That is why, one of the reasons why I do this, I literally could go around the room and thank everybody. I mean, people I've worked with as a council member who were on Board of Ed together, Sharon, when this idea of the Women's Commission started, it's really full circle. I'm just so proud of all the commissioners. Thank you. I know Claudia, Shannon, everybody on the Women's Commission. You're just literally trying to get at the idea that women and girls need to be in all the places and spaces in this city. And so with Mayor Rilling's support, it was really phenomenal. We had a mayor and him that saw the importance of this, because I think, Lieutenant Governor, this is one of the few in the state, right? So, and you've been such an ally and lifting up, LGBTQ folks, as you have said, women across the state. So I'm gonna earn what you said, but it's pretty cool to have a proclamation from you too. So thank you. So let me just say a little bit about. Well, let me first ask a question. I don't want to put you on the spot, Rashmi, but you were testifying in the education committee today, weren't you?
Oh, actually.
That was you.
Yeah,
That's right. All right. Well, I heard you. Oh, okay. We heard you. And so this is to say to all the Brian McMahon, CYL, I see Bob back there, and I owe you an email about a bill, but you all are amazing. And so talk about when people in Hartford listen. You are making such an impact. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased about Norwalk, and Norwalk's literally the best city in the entire state. And that's not even up to debate, but yeah, but you all have made such an impact, especially with this AI bill coming through. And
And so I'm so excited you're gonna work on this, Rashmi, and I have to say, I'm a huge fan, because the things that you have accomplished as a student, when I was on the council, you were being heard before even I was. You gave me strength to keep going in my role, because I saw what you all did. And that was so important to you that that meant I gotta keep going too. It's worth it to have this task force, the bathroom task force, principal. But people around the state, I met somebody at Naugatuck Valley who was a former Brian McMahon student, who talked about that and talked about the fact and wanted to know what's going on with that. And I was so happy to be able to say to him, it's happening because of what you did and now what you all are doing. So it's making such a difference. So yes, we're not gonna, whenever you all want to come up to Hartford, please, because you made your impact already, not only in my inbox, but in that building. So thank you for everything you're doing. So lastly, I'll just say this, a big part of why I do this is because of you and those younger than me, because I didn't have those role models. So I figured, as long as I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this in a way where people can see me doing it. And I'm not just gonna be siloed into one part of my identity. We are intersectional people, and so in Women's History Month, it's about women at these identities, that whether it's LGBTQ or genderqueer or any of the other identities we have, I think it's really important to celebrate that. And one way I approach the work, and I'm gonna borrow a little bit from Ayanna Presley. Sharon, you'll remember this. Remember we were talking about what she said when she was on Boston City Council? This is what she said, I think I'm not misattributing, that she would ask, well, where are women and girls in this budget? And so we're like, we need a group of women and other folks in the city who can follow through on that question. We need to know that if policy is, I think like she said, it's an act of love, then this is why we do what we do. Because everything we do, because we want to make sure that the next generation not only has it a little better than us, but knows that they're loved. So that's why I want to do what I do, because I feel like people did this for me before. People I never met demonstrated that they loved me, so let's just keep that going. So we're ready for you when you are. Not to hurry it up, but I'm so excited to see what you all do and what you do, Rashi, and congratulations. I'm already a huge fan of you all, so please keep going. And thank you, everyone. I will stop now.
So I think next on the agenda is if anyone else has anything you would like to say, that was a beautiful way to end, I think. Pictures? Okay, pictures. Before we do that, I do just want to, and we have to adjourn the meeting officially, but I do just want to say two quick things about the awards, which kind of came into being last summer. And I just wanted to shout out to Ashley and Michelle, who sat on my deck in Silvermine and sort of imagined what this could be. And the Rising Star name for the youth award came from Ashley. And then just a huge shout out to the committee on the commission. Christina did an amazing amount of work, and Sarah and Yvonne, who's not here, and Jasmine, and I don't remember who else, but really to bring this to life and make sure we were doing it in an equitable, fair, and transparent way. Really excited to launch our first Impact Awards, first annual Impact Awards. And my second point is really to the younger folks in the room. We have vacancies on the Commission on the Status of Women. Please go to the city website, find them, apply. We would love to see some of you alongside us. So unless there's anything else, we'll take pictures, but I'll call the meeting adjourned at this moment. Thank you all so very, very much.